told you that the most powerful speaker that I've ever met can't speak? Well, that's actually true. This is Sourena Vasseghi, and I'm Chris Stevenson. Sourena has severe cerebral palsy, and it affects his entire body, thus the wheelchair. He's got limited movement and a very, very, very dramatic speech impediment. So when Sourena's on stage, I'm there to translate what Sourena was saying to share his knowledge with an audience. Or in videos, you can see it in the subtitles. And yet, he's spoken on stages all across America. He's the award-winning author of 4 books, despite not physically being able to write. He's coached a ton of people. He's been featured on NBC, ESPN, BBC, and he's gave a TED Talk that moved audiences. Today, I'm asking Sourena the questions that you wanted answers to. Questions about mindset and sacrifice and what it really takes to turn your limitations into your greatest strengths. And trust me, what we're about to share with you has nothing to do with a disability, but has everything to do with the power that you already have inside you. So if you've ever felt stuck, limited, or like your circumstances are holding you back, this conversation will change the way you see everything. Let's go. The sacrifice paradox. Sourena, you always say that a sacrifice is a payment for a dream, but here's what I don't get. And what I think a lot of people struggle with is that how do you know when you're making a genuine sacrifice versus when you're suffering without purpose? Like, what's the line between a productive sacrifice and pointless pain?
When I talk about sacrifice, it's not about suffering. It's about what you give up for dreams. How hard you work, how focused you are, how committed you are. And what are the things that you do that nobody else does?
What you're saying again is sometimes we hear the word sacrifice and we think about I've got to suffer or I've got to give things up. And while sometimes that is a part of success, right? Giving things up or creating new habits which are challenging. Basically what you're saying is if you want to be successful and you want to accomplish your dreams, you've got to be willing to do what it takes. And sometimes that's a little uncomfortable and sometimes that's some hard work, but you just got to be willing to do it. Exactly. The ordinary, extraordinary disconnect. You talk about to be extraordinary, you've got to start with ordinary. Would you explain that?
If you were anywhere you went,
Okay, if you go to any sporting event, what do? They stretch.
Nothing is more than stretching, but it's easily done. Chemical has ownership that needs to be executed over and over again. So whatever you want to do, you have to be willing to do it over and over again.
So that makes more sense, and thanks for clarifying. And I think to your point, sometimes we've got an end goal, right? And it is extraordinary. And we think, oh my gosh, we got to be extraordinary to get there. But we don't. As long as we do those ordinary things on a regular basis, eventually they all multiply. And the next thing you know, you're absolutely extraordinary. So rewriting your narrative when others write it for you. You teach people to change their narrative. And you talk about how important that is, right? You always talk about change your narrative, change your life. But here's the hard part, right? From the moment you were born, people have been writing your narrative for you, as an example. Doctors told your parents what you'd never be able to do. Strangers make assumptions when they see you. Society sees you and creates this story about what disabilities actually mean. So how do you rewrite your narrative when the world keeps trying to keep you pushed back into that old narrative that they, in fact, gave you? Right? How do you maintain your story when everyone else is pushing a different one?
Focusing on what I want. I had to get there. I know everything else. I had to be focused on my business, be focused on my kids, be focused on my fun. I know the rest.
So again, we all have limiting beliefs. Again, the world tells us that we're certain people and we're only capable of certain things. What you're saying then, it makes a lot of sense, is doesn't matter what the world says. Yeah. You have the power to create the narrative of what you're capable of, what you can accomplish. And as long as you focus on those things, you're going to have some pretty amazing success.
I feel real. Feel real.
And feel versus real.
Yeah.
Right. Some things feel a certain way, but feelings aren't things you want to make decisions on. Love is a strategy versus love is a feeling. You know, your book is called Love Your Life and It'll Love You Back, but I want to push you on this a little bit because I think a lot of people are interested. You know, people hear Love Your Life and think it's gratitude journals and positive thinking, and I know there's a place for those, but you live with cerebral palsy, and your days, there's got to be days you're frustrated, days that you're stuck, days that it's got to feel like loving your life some days is, well, impossible. So when you say love your life, are you talking about like a feeling, or is it an actual strategy, a discipline? What does it mean to love your life when your life is objectively hard and harder than most people's?
When you bring that in my life, and when you live, it doesn't matter. All the time, you get that feeling of but when you put in your life,
But what you put into your life is what you get out of it.
you need to put in the work,
Put in the work,
be committed,
be committed,
and get done.
and get it done.
Yeah.
I love that. So that does make a lot of sense. And I think one thing, you know, you've shared this in the past too, is the glass is half empty and the glass is half full, right? You got to see both sides of it. And when you see the challenges and you see the things that aren't so great, but then you also see the possibility, that's really where the magic happens. It's not about ignoring the bad things.
Yeah, and you need to very foolish.
Well, thank you, Sourena. I know those were questions that a lot of people have asked you in the past. I think it's great to share it on this platform so people can really get those answers. But I think those were some very insightful things and most importantly, actionable, right? Everything you just shared in your answers were things that you've done that have helped propel you to amazing success and that the viewers can apply in their own lives that will help them be successful as well.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Sourena.